Well, greetings everyone. Good to see all of you here. I am, for some reason, having trouble with my webcam now. It says it's on, but it's not on. So let me just try and fix that a little bit here. I'm having some trouble with that. If not, then we're going to go ahead and get started. But alrighty here. Okay, so I'm going to try this once more. Properties, deactivate, activate. Okay. There we go. Don't know why that's there. That shouldn't be there either. Should definitely not be there. Don't know why. And I don't know why this is here. That shouldn't be there either. Okay. Something is not right here. Something is not right. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Oh, and of course, that is much too big. Let's fix that. Okay. Alrighty, hopefully that'll be. Alrighty. Okay, well, now I'm here, and it's good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. Glad to see everyone here. Once again, I apologize. I was having technical difficulties with the camera. It was on, but it wasn't showing an image or anything like that. So I have no idea what in the world was going on. But anyway, thank you very much to everyone for being here. This is a very important topic tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. We're looking at cardiovascular health. I do apologize if for on Saturday I was trying to figure out what was going on. My Twitch just was not connecting. I wanted to stream the Bible study, the sacred history, and the music thing that we did afterward. But unfortunately, for some reason, I was just having trouble with my Twitch, and for whatever reason, there were just problems. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I don't want to delay any longer, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with this. And of course, as I always do, we're going to move forward with a word of prayer, and then we will go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your grace and for your mercy. Thank you for your infinite love, your wonderful kindness, and just for everything that you have done for us. Father, I just ask that you would please be with us now and keep us, Lord, and that you would speak and open our hearts to you so that we might see you and understand more about how to take care of ourselves. Thank you so much again for everything you've done. In Jesus' name we pray and ask these things. Amen. Alrighty. Thank you once again, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started here with cardiovascular health. This is a really important topic. I do want to, of course, as always, have this disclaimer, that is that the information in this presentation is intended for educational purposes only. It is not intended for the diagnosis, treatment, prevention, or cure of any disease. If you want to make any changes to your lifestyle, implement any natural remedies, or any regimen or anything like that, or make any changes to any such thing that may already be existing, please consult with a qualified physician, preferably someone who has known you for a while. Just, a family doctor, family physician, that sort of a thing. Anyway, just to kind of get that out there, make sure that we're being wise about this. So, that being said, we're going to look at some relevant terms and information here. As always, just kind of looking at regimen, infusions, and decoctions. These are really the three big ones that I personally recommend. There are other, herbal preparations and things like that that are out there, but they're not really, how shall I say, they're not really that as significant as these. A regimen is a program that works with multiple facets of a person to help facilitate healing. Typically, we're looking more at the um, physical facet of things, but there are also the relational facet and the mental facet. I didn't really cover either of those today, although I might jump in a little bit and talk about that depending on how much time we have. Um, anyway, and then an infusion is a preparation of herbs where you take boiling water and you boil water and you pour the boiling water over herbs. A standard ratio for that, for an infusion like that, is 1 teaspoon of dried or 2 teaspoons of fresh herb to 1 cup of water. It's best if you leave that steeping for at least 20 minutes or so. A decoction, on the other hand, is a preparation of herbs where you're boiling herbs in water for 10 to 15 minutes or so. The standard ratio of that is for a decoction is the same as an infusion: 1 teaspoon of dried or 2 teaspoons of fresh herb to 1 cup of water. Those are our relevant terms. Now let's take a look at the cardiovascular system. All right, well, the cardiovascular system is an incredibly valuable system in the body. It's your heart, it's your and your blood vessels, mainly of your heart, your veins, your arteries, your capillaries, and your venules, as well as your arterioles and actually your capillaries, and then your arterioles and venules. I may be missing a few steps in there. It's been a while since I took my anatomy and physiology class. Or since I looked at an anatomy and physiology textbook anyway. So it's, so that's your cardiovascular system. And if it does also somewhat include the lungs and things like that, the cardiorespiratory system and so on. That's all there. But it's still something that you want to take a look at. So, but we're looking mostly at the cardiovascular system itself, so the heart and the blood vessels today. Diseases of this system in particular are the #1 cause of death in the world. Heart disease especially is the #1 cause of death, the #1 killer. Generally speaking, poor lifestyle is the cause of these diseases. There are exceptions to this. There's congenital diseases, and so on. There's defects and things like that. Those are all part and parcel of that. But generally speaking, cardiovascular disease boils down to poor lifestyle, although age does also have a bit of a factor. However, aside from lifestyle changes, herbs and hydrotherapy are also very useful in, or can be very useful in the long run. And they can prove useful, especially in aiding the recovery process and aiding the healing process that a lifestyle change would implement. So we're going to take a look at that. But first, we're going to look at lifestyle components. I know it's everyone's favorite. Oh boy, I got to change how I live. I know that. But, this honestly, you're going to be living way better with these changes. Your quality of life is vastly improved. So your 2 biggest components are, of course, as pretty much everyone knows this, diet and exercise. That's the 2 biggest things. You want a diet rich in fiber, low in fat, and low in protein. Especially you're going to want to look at legumes. So those are beans, peas, lentils, and so on. Peanuts too, but they're a little too high in fat for this. And leafy greens also. You're going to look at all your leafy greens, cabbage, red cabbage, broccoli, spinach, kale, mustard greens, beet greens, all those things. Those are all great things. I mean, nettles, as an herbalist, I gotta say, nettles are some of the best some of the best leafy greens for you. Try out nettles. Those are good too. All those things are really important, but especially the ones that you can eat fresh. In particular, leafy greens, and I forgot to put this in, but leafy greens, one of the reasons they're good for you is because they contain chemicals that help produce nitric oxide in our blood vessels, which actually helps relax the blood vessel system, helps stave off arteriosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries, and it really helps prevent, more than anything else, the damage to the blood vessels that can occur as a result of an improper lifestyle or just life in general. As we get older and things like that, damage will be more likely to occur. But if our blood vessels are more elastic, if we've got more nitric oxide flowing through our system, then we're less likely to either take damage or to suffer long-term damage. So leafy greens are really useful for you. Exercise appropriate for your fitness level is also really important. If you're just getting started, there's no way you're running a marathon. That's okay. If all you can do is take 12 steps out the front door and back, that's okay. Do that. This is a time especially where you're going to want to be consulting with your physician. Set up an exercise program that's right for you. If you're a woman, then just regular old cardio will work. If you're a man, you're really going to want to do both cardio and weightlifting. Because of our higher muscle ratios and such, there is a physiological difference between men and women in that, and so it's really important that, and they've done studies too, where men have to do both weight-bearing or weight training exercises and cardiovascular to get the same benefit out of exercise as women do just out of purely cardiovascular exercise. So it's really important, as you know, if you're a man, you've got to do both those weightlifting and those cardio exercise as well. But again, appropriate for your fitness level. Don't try bench pressing 400 pounds off the bat, right? Or even 100 pounds. If you can only do 45, that's okay. If you don't even add weights, you just have the bar. That's okay too. Appropriate for your fitness level. Weight loss is also a huge portion of this regimen. I haven't talked about diabetes much. I did kind of talk about it briefly in the digestive system remedies. We did talk, or regimen. We talked about that a little bit. But diabetes really is another portion of this. Weight loss is huge for diabetes and for heart disease. Obesity itself is, and being overweight is linked with over 50 diseases, including, conclusively, including heart disease and cardiovascular disease and diabetes, as well as cancers and other things. So weight loss is a really big portion. Now, you're not going to lose weight by following a fad diet. That's not the way things work. Now, eating a whole foods plant-based diet is going to make it easier for you to lose weight, because you're going to be eating generally, if you're doing it, if you're doing a whole foods plant-based diet and you're following these other things, you're probably going to want to, you're probably going to be losing weight a lot more easily because you're not consuming as many calories, especially if you're eating more leafy greens. And I forgot, by the way, if you have any questions at any point, please, if you're watching via the stream, go ahead and leave them in the chat. Yes, I remembered which direction it is for me this time. If you just leave it in the chat, and I will do my best to answer it as soon as I can. And if you're watching via the Zoom, you can ask at any point. If you leave it in the Zoom chat, I may not see it, so bear that in mind. You can speak out loud. Although the stream can't hear you, so I will have to repeat what you say. Anyway, so I just remembered that, so I wanted to get that out there. I think I've covered what I wanted with weight loss. We might go back to it a little bit. Actually, no, I didn't cover everything. With weight loss, it's not only restricting your calories, it's also exercise. So it's your diet and your exercise, you putting those things together and getting that weight loss. You're not going to lose 50 pounds in 30 days. That's not the way things work. There's going to be reasonable goals. Again, this is where you talk to your physician. This is where you talk to a healthcare professional who knows about such things and who's able to set things up for you, who knows you in your case. Lots and lots and lots of water to drink. Speaking of which, my water's just out of reach here. But let me see if I can grab it. I've demonstrated this often. I haven't drunk as much as I would like, but I've got my gallon of water here. I usually drink about one of those a day. I like to. Sometimes I don't always, which isn't really a good thing. I wish I drank it more, but So lots of water to drink. Water is pretty much the number one thing that you can do for your blood vessel system, other than your diet and your exercise. Water is incredibly important. It helps maintain appropriate blood pressure. If you drink too much, it's very hard to drink too much water. Usually, your body tells you, "No, I'm done. Stop." Before you get to that point, you can. So bear that in mind. But lots of water to drink is really essential because it helps maintain appropriate blood pressure. And it also helps maintain appropriate electrolyte levels and things like that. So lots and lots and lots of water to drink is really, really good. Of course, it also will help to to help clean out toxins and things like that, because water is the universal solvent, and your body uses it to help dissolve things. Another big thing: good quality sleep. Good quality sleep is absolutely essential. Studies have shown that getting a poor amount of sleep at night is worse. Or no, excuse me, not worse. It's just as bad as smoking regularly. It is just as bad as smoking. That's absolutely phenomenal to me, but it has to do with the level of cortisol in your bloodstream, the level of adrenaline in your bloodstream, and so on. Basically, the less sleep you have, the more you're running on stress hormones, and the more stress hormones you have, the worse it is for your heart and your cardiovascular system. So bear that in mind as well. Plenty of good quality sleep. Of course, you're going to get good quality sleep not just on the hours you're sleeping, but also the time you go to bed. Right? If you're looking at good quality sleep, you're going to want to look at from any hour before, at least a couple of hours before midnight, because every hour before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. So bear that in mind as well. So good quality sleep is really, really, really important. Now, this is really the portion that a lot of people don't like about lifestyle, and that has to do with, oh, I am blocking the way here. Let me shrink down a little bit. This is, some of this stuff is, oh man, I've got to give this up. I've got to give that up. And yes, there are times when we do have to give things up. That's just, that's just the way things are. Substances like alcohol, tobacco, and especially caffeine, although all of those things are really bad, all of those substances have a tendency to damage blood vessels and raise blood pressure. A lot of people might question, well, hey, alcohol, I thought alcohol was good for you, or at least wine. What about wine? I thought wine was good for you. Well, the only part of wine that's actually good for your heart is the grape juice itself. Studies have shown repeatedly that any alcohol you drink is more likely to make you, or is going to make you more likely to be susceptible to heart disease, and that you can get the same benefits from wine, alcoholic wine, as you can get from grape juice or eating grapes. So it's just far better for you to get it straight from the grapes, the unfermented grapes, or the unfermented juice, than from the fermented juice, which, well, it's rotten grape juice. There's just not much more I can say about that. And the same thing goes for all other forms of alcohol. All alcohol of any kind should be avoided when you're dealing with heart disease. It's a burden on not only the heart, but also on the liver, on the kidneys. It's a burden on the brain as well. It's just better not to drink it. Tobacco, same thing. You're going to increase those stress hormones. You're going to increase those. You're going to give problems with the liver and the brain as well. It's just far better not to do it. Not to mention the lungs, because of the bad air. The smoke itself is bad for your lungs. Smoke, period, is bad for your lungs, and so the particles and things like that are going to have a tendency to raise your blood pressure as well. In addition to all the chemicals and things like that that cause real issues in your brain, and thus in your cardiovascular system as well. Caffeine, of course, raises stress hormones, and just like lack of sleep, is going to make it more difficult for your heart and and so on. So those three substances you're really going to want to avoid. I advocate total abstinence from them. Alcohol, though, be warned. If you are a heavy drinker, please, please, please do not attempt to get off of alcohol on your own. If you are a heavy or even a moderate drinker, please do not try and get off alcohol on your own. You could go into a very, very serious what's the term? A withdrawal syndrome known as delirium tremens. It's a very nasty thing that is potentially lethal. So you want to make sure that you are doing it under medical supervision. Please, please, please. And I forgot to put up the picture. I don't know why it didn't enter into my head not to put that before. But please do not, if you're anything other than one drink a week or more, something like that, please go in and just make sure that you're not at risk for delirium tremens. Tobacco's one of the hardest habits to quit, I know. Caffeine, though, is relatively easy in comparison to either alcohol or tobacco, especially because the withdrawal symptoms only last a maximum of 72 hours or so, give or take. And after those 72 hours or so, you don't have withdrawal symptoms anymore, which is absolutely astounding. It's the only addictive substance that I know of that only causes that, even if you've been taking it for years on end and been heavily dependent on it, drinking 8 to 10 cups of coffee a day, although I knew someone who drank 18. It's really not a... Yeah. It only lasts for a short time. Only 72 hours, no matter how long you've been taking it. So that's a bonus, at least. Yeah, sure, you might be irritable, you might have a headache or three, but generally speaking, you're going to want to avoid caffeine. Animal products as well, of all kinds, are better left alone, especially those high in protein and those high in fat. Especially animal protein is very nasty for the heart and the cardiovascular system. It's just... There's lots of problems with it. It produces a very nasty set of chemicals, or rather, the chemicals that are in the proteins, namely the amino acids that are high in certain elements, are going to be more like they are difficult to metabolize and require special processes and processing, and so it's just that those processes can end up causing damage to the system. So it's really better if you leave animal products of all kinds alone. You also want to avoid added fats, so oils and things like that, and added sugars. Added sugars, table sugar, even honey. As much as I love honey, it's really not the best thing. Honey, molasses, raw sugars. I would even avoid things like stevia and monk fruit and other low-calorie or no-calorie sweeteners, simply because they have a tendency to, how shall I put it? They make your brain think there's more sugar there than there actually is, and it actually causes long-term problems. You see the same problem with other low to no-calorie sweeteners like aspartame and so on. Even though those are synthetic, it's still the same thing. Olive oil is not an exception. The only fat you should be getting is from whole foods like flaxseed, chia seeds, almonds, or walnuts. Flaxseed and chia seeds in particular are the best sources of fats that you can find, but almonds, walnuts, and other nuts, if you were not allergic, are excellent sources of healthy oils, but I wouldn't eat them really very often if you're dealing with cardiovascular disease. Don't avoid them completely, but, again, kind of talk to your physician about it, because, or a dietitian as well would be very useful. Olive oil and such, that's really not a good idea. I know there's lots of studies out there, again, or lots of people out there who claim, oh, olive oil is good, olive oil is this, olive oil is that, and it's not bad for you. It's certainly better for you than bacon, fat, and lard, right? But olive oil, the reason that, the Mediterranean diet is so popular is because, or rather, the reason that it's so healthy, and I know it's very popular, is because it's more plant-based than other diets out there than the standard American diet. And also, we have a tendency to say, well, okay, olive oil is okay, so we're going to use a ton of it. That's not the way it works. Usually, people who live on the Mediterranean diet only add very little. The traditional Mediterranean diet doesn't use a ton of olive oil, but often Americans and other Westerners who use the Mediterranean diet use a ton of olive oil, which is really not useful or helpful or healthy. And so, really, bottom line, no added oils, no added fats at all, and no added sugars. You want to especially avoid fructose. Fructose in some individuals, not in all, but you don't know which one you are, so it's better not to. Fructose, especially in some individuals, will raise blood triglycerides even if you're not eating a lot of fat. So you want to avoid fructose as much as possible. So obviously, there's some things you can't avoid. If you're eating fruit, you're going to get fructose. That's just the way things are. Starches are better because they have glucose. They're long glucose chains rather than fructose chains. But you want to make sure that the sources of starch you're getting are sources that come with fiber. Again, you're looking at your legumes, your whole grains, things like that. Those are really, really more important sources of starch. Although also sweet potatoes and things like that are very, very, very useful. Just don't eat them with a ton of butter or olive oil. You're going to want to avoid those things in general. I personally love potatoes and sweet potatoes with nothing more than just a tiny bit of salt. And that's okay, just enough. Right? You don't want to have to put too much on there. As long as you don't taste the salt, it's good. Right? Anyway, it for some reason did not do the transition. Okay. Herbal components. Herbal components. These are very important here. Let me move myself again because I am, for some reason... Oh, let me move up here. That's better. Okay. So, herbal components, there's a lot of different herbs that are very useful for the cardiovascular system. We'll go over a few here. A decoction of hawthorn berries is in particular an excellent cardiovascular tonic. I've had this myself. I need to use it more because I have a family history of heart disease. Hawthorn is very, very useful in that it helps strengthen the heart and the cardiovascular system. Now, if you're already taking medications, I do want to say if you're already taking medications, they could interact with some of these, and so you want to be careful. Again, speak to your physician about this. Hawthorn, however, is an excellent cardiovascular tonic. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the best out there. And while it's not foxglove, right? It's not digioxin, digitoxin. It's not foxglove. It won't start your heart going again. It's not a defibrillator. It's not meant to do that. That's not what it's for. Hawthorn is a tonic. It helps strengthen your heart and make you more likely to survive things that may happen. It also helps you slough off that unnecessary stuff, the plaques and things like that, and just help really build up your cardiovascular system. In addition, you could also have hawthorn in your diet. Hawthorn is extremely high in soluble fiber, and in vitamin C as well, which are both extremely good for the heart, because the soluble fiber helps clean out the cholesterol and things like that. And the vitamin C is also a potent antioxidant, which helps prevent damage to the blood vessels. So hawthorn's fantastic. Garlic, oats, ginger, and coriander, which is also known as cilantro here in the States, they're all very useful in aiding and protecting the blood vessels. Garlic is a potent blood thinner that's widely known. Oats, their soluble fiber is phenomenal. And so that, again, helps to kind of clean out the cholesterol. Ginger and coriander or cilantro, those also are very, very useful at clearing out the plaque from your blood vessels. So it's very, very important. Those are four really important herbs for helping your blood vessels and also protecting them, because ginger and coriander or cilantro are also very useful in protecting the blood vessels from damage, especially ginger. Another herb that I didn't put up here but is a relative of ginger is cardamom. And cardamom is also very useful in that. It's a relative of ginger, and so it has some of the same effects. Grape juice, I mentioned wine earlier. Wine is very widely proclaimed to be this great and wonderful thing for heart disease. Grape juice is the real unsung hero. Wine is just rotten old grape juice. Grape juice, the benefits that come from wine are in grape juice, and if you can get the fresh pressed stuff, that's even better, right? That stuff is the best that you can possibly get. And so that fresh pressed grape juice, that's what you want. That's full of chemicals like resveratrol and some of these other wonderful phytochemicals that are absolutely fantastic. And grapes are just amazing in general. Besides that, they taste great. So, no complaints there. Now, I do want to add a caveat that these herbs are not to replace a healthy lifestyle. If you're living an unhealthy lifestyle and you do this, you use these herbs, they will help, but they will ultimately only prolong things only slightly. They will end up doing you no more good than any pharmaceutical blood thinners and anything else that you might be using. They won't do you any more good than a pharmaceutical will in the long run. They aren't going to be any different for you than that. They may be slightly better for you or slightly worse depending on your physiology. And again, these things, you need to, this is going to be individualized, so you would need someone who has a bit more, you would need an herbal consultant or something like that to talk to you about this, as well as speaking to your doctor on it, just to kind of get a bit more of a personalized recommendation of herbs. But generally speaking, these herbs are very useful, but they are not to replace a healthy lifestyle. They are only meant to aid and protect the body during the healing process produced by a lifestyle change. If your lifestyle is not changing, then neither are your blood vessels in the long run. So you need to keep those clear, and that's really important. That's phenomenally important. Hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy is a unique case. There are some really interesting things that I've found. Actually, there have been some studies done on this, which I was quite pleased to learn about. Hydrotherapy is really something you want to be careful with. You want to avoid sheer cold or cool applications, tonic applications. You do want tonic applications, but cool or cold, just straight, is not helpful because you're gonna potentially cause damage. You're gonna potentially cause shock. The heart is not going to be able to keep up with it. Neither are the blood vessels. It's just not a good thing to do. You'll end up causing congestion of blood in the central area because the body's going to do that to make sure that you kind of keep that warm. And there's lots of problems with that. So it's really, really better if you just avoid pure cool or cold tonic applications. You're going to want to build up to those. As your heart strengthens, so too will your system. And as your system strengthens, so too will your heart, of course. And so mild contrast applications are really your best bet for such cases. Now, you're going to want to start with warm and cool, warm and cool, warm and cool, and build up to hot and cool, hot and cool, hot and cool, hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. And then you're going to want to probably move a little bit more to, you're going to want to start with probably 3 minutes warm, 30 seconds cool, and so on. And keep that ratio all the way up until you've been using 3 minutes hot, 30 seconds cold for a little while. And then you're going to want to start using a minute hot, a minute cold, a minute hot, and a minute cold. And again, you're building yourself up. Now, this is all, keep in mind, this is all in the context of being supervised and discussed and, thoroughly, this is all being overseen by a healthcare professional because, someone who knows about these kinds of things. This is really important. If you're not doing that, then it's not gonna work. You could cause damage to yourself. You could hurt yourself. Please don't do this without consulting if it's a healthcare professional in this. Um, in general, with hydrotherapy, you want to avoid temperature extremes. When it comes to cardiovascular issues, you're going to want to do that because too hot and you could cause heat stroke, too cold and you'll induce hypothermia. You don't want to do either of those things. You want to kind of avoid them, especially in the beginning. And so you're really looking for that warm, cool, warm, cool. However, just plain warm is also very useful. Warm full bath or a warm plunge bath, both of those are particularly indicated. In fact, I found a study that showed that a warm bath, in particular exercise in a warm bath, increased the amount of blood flow from the heart. It opened up the blood vessels and such, which is something that is very true, and Dr. Kellogg could have told you 100 years ago, but because he researched it thoroughly himself. But that being said, heat is very useful in the right context if you're avoiding extremes. You don't want to go too hot. But exercise in a warm plunge bath is very, very useful, especially for weak or individuals who are not fit. So those are people who have, they don't have a very strong heart. They can't exercise a whole lot, and that's okay to be that way. It's not a statement about the value of an individual. It's simply saying that they are not able to exercise as much as someone who maybe is more fit. And so it's really important to, or rather, exercising in a warm plunge bath is very useful. And just a warm plunge bath in general, or a warm full bath, those are also particularly indicated. So keep those things in mind as well. Now, I didn't put the slides in at the time for the mental health and the relational health kind of a thing. Or, excuse me, the mental and relational facets, mental and relational components. But they are both very important, and I want to address them briefly, seeing as we have some time here. Mental health is really important with your cardiovascular system because often you want to make sure that you're thinking properly, because oftentimes what will happen is people will think, oh, I'm not doing so well, and they will end up not doing as well even though they were doing fine. Or people might think, oh man, you know what, I'm doing pretty good here, even though they may not be, and as a result they're able to recover. Surprisingly, the power of the mind upon the body is incredible, and if we believe that we're more likely to get well than not, then we are more likely to get well than not. Now, obviously, the mind isn't a cure-all, right? It's usually. There are exceptions, but those are very few and far between. And so you want to make sure that you're keeping yourself in a positive mindset, or as much as you can, or at least in an optimistic mindset. Now, that's not to negate realism, right? To say, okay, man, I'm dealing with this right now. You're not ignoring the problem at hand. That's important to note. You're not ignoring the problem at hand, but rather instead you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm in the situation, but let me find a positive side to it. I'm in the situation, but let me see something good I can get out of it. And that's really important. Recognizing those positive things and finding the positive in the negative, those are all really important things. Finding good things in the bad things that occur. That's really important. It's actually probably one of the most important things that you can do. Now, I'm going to move myself down here once again because I don't believe there's anything else that I have to do there. So I'm going to move back down. And I do want to say as well about the mental health again. What you're looking at is really your thoughts and your belief system. Are your thoughts accurate? Are your beliefs accurate? And I don't just mean your religious beliefs, your non-religious beliefs, whatever it might be. I'm not talking about that necessarily, although that is also something to assess. But I'm referring more to beliefs about yourself, about others, and about the world around you. And yes, also about God, but we won't talk about that at this time. Those things are really important. Assessing those beliefs. Ask, hey, is this true? Is this accurate? Is this helpful? Is this an appropriate perspective for me to take? If you will, a pragmatic analysis of it. Now, of course, you know, do that in the context of truth. Never tell yourself a lie, because that doesn't work. It's not going to work in the long run. So those things, assess the accuracy, the truth, and the helpfulness of your thoughts, of your belief systems about yourself, about others, and about the world around you, and yes, also about God. You want to assess those things. See if they're accurate. See if they're not. And of course, about your thoughts, your feelings, and those sorts of things. Assess those things. Say, why do I feel this way? What are the thoughts behind this feeling? What are the beliefs behind this feeling? And what can I replace the negative if I need to? If these things are negative, if I'm feeling bad or down, what can I do? What thoughts can I think to induce appropriate and true thoughts can I think? What can I focus on in order to move my mood to something a bit more positive or something a bit more useful and helpful? The other thing I want to say is focusing on the relational aspect of health. Now, there have been studies done that show that people with heart disease or who have suffered heart attacks or strokes and who have strong social connections are more likely than people who do not have those to survive and to thrive after those episodes. And so it's really important to have those social connections. If you have those social connections, or at least if you have social connections but they're not very strong, build up those relationships. If you have family, connect with your family. Now, obviously, don't connect with people who are not going to be useful for you, not going to be good, not going to be good influences, not going to be safe for you to be around. Those kind of individuals, steer clear. But if you have healthy relationships that really could be stronger, strengthen those. Look for those that are good. Look for those that are those friends who are true friends who will stand by you. Look for those times when you can interact with that. If you don't have that, well, first of all, make friends. Go out and find a place where you can. Now, I know that's a little bit difficult here. I know that that's difficult in this day and age. Some places, especially more than others. California recently said that the governor of California recently said that we may have a stay-at-home order except for essential workers. So that's really important to it makes things difficult. So how do you do that? Well, there are places, there are ways of doing it, but they're I don't know all of them, and so. But stuff like this, what we're doing now, this is great. Find communities to connect to online, right? This is really important. Find, if you have streamers or things like that, like myself or others out there that you can find a community to integrate with, that's fantastic. Do that. Put yourself into a place where you can connect with people, even if it's just online. And if you manage to build a community online like that, then hey, you know what? If it's just chats at first, great, but build it up, right? Don't just stay on Reddit. Don't just stay on Twitch. Don't just stay in the chat of Twitch, right? Don't just stay in my chat or anybody else's chat. Form a community. Start doing Zoom calls. Start Google Meets. Whatever it is that you need to do to get face-to-face with people as much as you can in today's day and age, do it. Obviously, be safe, right? And don't connect to people that aren't, that you don't know personally. Don't go and meet them or anything like that without people there and that sort of a thing. Be wise, be wise, be wise, be wise. But at the same time, build those connections. Connect to people. Really, really, really find ways to connect. Get inventive. Come up with things. There's lots of things. Find a new community. You want to learn a language. Get out there and learn it. Get together with people who speak the language. There's lots of ways, lots of things that you can do. So please, get out there. Do those relational things. That's really, really important to do, especially in today's day and age. And I would highly recommend personally, and as someone who is interested in natural health and those things, get connected to a church. Get connected to a church that teaches truth. Look to the Bible. Find, if they don't teach what's straight out of the Word, and if everything they teach doesn't come straight out of the Word, then don't go there. Look for a church that teaches the truth and connect with them. All right. I'm not saying, yeah, go out and do that. That's really, really good. If you're not there yet, okay, that's fine. If you don't think that that's something that would benefit you at this time, if you're not there yet, okay. I strongly encourage it because it really will help. People who attend church just on that basis alone live longer than people who do not by a good 4 to 6 years, I believe. It's just, yeah, do that. But make sure that you're attending a church that teaches from the Bible and the Bible only. No traditions of human beings instituted anywhere. Right? So do that. It's one of the best ways that you can connect with people. Get into a church. Find a church. Find some way that you can meet with them online. Get connected, especially if they're in your local area. Okay, that's that's probably one of the biggest things that you can do. Find people in your local area, churches in your local area to connect to. Alrighty, well, I'm going to open it up at this time. I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. I'm going to ask chat right now. If you have any questions, now would be the time to really type them out. If you had them before, you could have typed them out as well. But please, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. Put it in the chat, and I will see it. Zoom, I'm now going to come to you while I wait on chat. Are there any questions from the Zoom meeting? Okay. Alrighty. Okay then. And I'm not seeing any questions in the chat either. So we're going to go ahead, I think. I want to say as well, once again, I am the King's Bard here. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I'm also on Twitch, and I'm glad my Twitch is finally working. I had to do really fancy work around it. I wish I didn't have to do it, and I hope I don't have to do it every time. But at any rate, I'm the King's Bard. You can follow me on Twitch. You can find me on Facebook. Like the page, the King's Bard. And you can like this video as well, please, and share it, get it out there. If you're on the YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Ask your questions there, please. Don't hesitate to do that. And above all else, please get connected. Especially in this time, we need to stay connected. We need to stay together with people. So let's stay connected. Let's do that. And connect with me. If you have any questions at any point in time, you can feel free to contact me at my Facebook page. I am there again, the King's Bard. You can message me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. You can also contact me on Facebook. You can direct message me, or on YouTube. I'm not sure you can direct message on YouTube, but you can leave a comment on any of my videos, and I will do my best to answer those questions or comments as much as I can. And I'm hoping to get some things done in the next few weeks that we'll be able to do that. If you're watching via the recorded video, thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a long time. This has been, these videos are typically quite long. And so thank you very much for being here. Please, again, like the video. If you're on Facebook, share it, like the page. Follow me on Twitch. And if you're on YouTube, then you can go ahead and please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you'll get more videos from me. I'm hoping to get more active in that at some point. Maybe over Christmas break I'll be able to do that. Anyway, that being said, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We're going to go ahead and close out with a word of prayer, and I shall see you all on Saturday, Sabbath, where we do our Bible study and our sacred history, which I'm really looking forward to. I love those. They're just amazing. I love them. So anyway, Bible study at 11:15, sacred history at 10 o'clock, and those are both AM times, Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, let's go ahead and close out with a word of prayer, and I shall see you guys on Saturday, on Sabbath. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your grace, for your mercy, for your infinite love, and for your wonderful kindness. I ask, Lord, that you would please get this video out as much as possible to everyone who needs to see it. And I ask, Lord, for everyone who's under the sound of my voice right now, that you would please draw them closer to you. Indeed, draw us all closer to you, Lord. The time is short. Your coming is at hand. And I just ask that you would please, above all other things, draw us close to you in personal, deep, intimate relationship. Let us yield whatever it might be that is holding us back, and let us draw close to you. I provide healing, Lord, for us, for not only our minds and hearts, but also our bodies. Thank you so much. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray and ask all these things, and we thank you. Please keep us until next time. And then, thank you so much. Amen. Alrighty, thank you everybody once again for being here, and I will see you guys